Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and if you are tuning in the day this episode is scheduled to go live, it is November 1st, 2018. So it's not a Monday, but it's another day that's very popular for people to start recommitting to their fitness goals or healthy lifestyle goals, or actually start a new goal because it's the start of a new month. And if you are in that boat, I'm going to encourage you to check out the app that my guest has created. My guest today is Lewis Smith. He makes iPhone apps in the health and fitness space, including the body measurement tracking app Progress, and that's what we'll talk about today, and the stand-up paddle tracker Paddle Logger. And I'm actually going to have another guest on shortly. We've already recorded our interview, but I'm waiting on sharing that episode with you, who will talk about that app. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that episode. Back to Lewis. Lewis got into programming very early on when his dad brought a computer home from work. At high school, he got into making basic websites, and he went on to study internet computing at university. In 1999, it was the first year that the course had run. After visiting Thailand on honeymoon, Lewis and his new wife took 6 years to combine travel and work, the so-called digital nomad lifestyle. During that time, Lewis built Progress from a pocket money income to a full-time business. Now settled back in the UK, Lewis loves helping people reach their health and fitness goals through easy-to-use technology. Lewis, welcome to the Fit 15. I'm so excited to have you as my guest today.
It's my pleasure. I'm really excited to be here.
So the reason I asked you to be on is that you have this great app called the Progress app, and in chatting with you about that and checking out the app myself, I realized we have a lot in common, and we're trying to share the same things and tips with our followers. So could you just share, what the app is about and why you started it, and give us a little bit of general background on it?
Sure. So the app is a weight loss tracking app, but I don't really kind of like the word or the phrase weight loss tracking. And so really it's for tracking body measurements and photos. And so the idea is that as you're trying to get thinner or be more healthy, that tracking your weight, especially for women, is just not a very good measure of your progress. Mm-hmm. And so whereas body measurements and photos are or at least with weight and all these things, the more you track, the better you kind of picture you get, and the more kind of motivated you can stay and working towards your goals. So that's the kind of big picture of the app, really.
Yeah, and I love that. And listeners of the show, if they've listened for a few episodes or they've been a client of mine, they'll know that I have the same opinion on only tracking weight. Like it can be helpful. It is something that we can use to inform us of how our progress is going. But if we're just focused on that, sometimes the number might go up, even though we're working really hard to eat healthy and all that.
Exactly. And things like if you're doing any kind of workouts, then muscle weighs more than fat. And so if you gain muscle, you can be heavier and have less fat and less body fat. And so it's a trick, really. And it's just like, it's not a laziness, but it's like it's easy to say. You say weight loss and you know what you mean, but really you need to scratch below that kind of losing weight in inverted commas.
Sure. No, awesome.
Yeah.
And what made you create the app, like when you did, or how did that happen?
Yeah, sure. So it was 6 or 7 years ago, and I proposed to my wife, and she said yes, and we're going to get married. And I wanted to be look my best for wedding photos and things like that. And she recommended that I read this book called The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss. I'm sure you and your audience are familiar with Tim Ferriss. And he talks about, not measuring weight, but, all the stuff I just said basically
Sure.
is something that he has talked about. And he says use a spreadsheet, but I was working in IT and I have a real hatred of spreadsheets. And I wanted to learn how to make iPhone apps. And so, I just started getting up like an hour early before work and kind of making this app just to learn how to do it, basically. and I put it out. I just released it just to see if anyone else would be interested. And it didn't do, I can't remember what it was making. It was making some money, but not real, like not like a lot of money, but it was enough that it was like, okay, yeah, this is something that people are interested in. And then I've been doing it basically ever since. And like in the last 2 years, I've kind of balanced that with other work. And in the last 2 years, I've been able to do really nothing but that, mostly that kind of thing. So
no, that's awesome. Yeah. Super exciting. And I'm sure, so do you have any like people who have used the app that have been really good success stories that have inspired you to keep going those few years?
Yeah, so I do have them. So my favorite things that I see are like when people say like, oh, my weight has stayed about the same, but my inches have really gone down. So like, I do get those, and like, I do see those quite a lot. And so, yeah, they make me happy. And just, it is a really nice thing is when you see people say that. So we have a Facebook group for the app, and there's a lot of people. It's kind of like a medium-sized Facebook group, I guess I'd say, and like it's quite active. And there's like a hardcore of like really active, friendly people in there, and a lot of those people have really just had good success and made changes in their life. And it's really, and I think there's a lot of people who kind of lurk, but who see that stuff and who get stuff out of it as well. So yeah, it's a really nice feeling, and it's really nice. It's one of the nicest things for sure.
That's awesome. And I've downloaded the app. I haven't tracked anything yet because I have my measuring tape because I use it with clients, and I'm like, I need to just play around and actually use it more. So that's but I have gone and looked in the Facebook group, and you're absolutely right. There's such a great active. I was really surprised that the community is just so active, and people are really sharing, photos and just their experiences and why they've started, using the app. So really inspiring. And I can share, being a personal trainer and working with clients, in different stages of their journeys, or just, even with me, I've had clients I've worked with for years and their journeys have changed. Having that accountability group is like one of the biggest indicators of whether they're going to be successful or not, whether it's when I've done a group that they've been a part of, or if they have a supportive community of their own. So I love that feature is part of the app. It's not just tracking your measurements, but there's also a community behind it as well. Hi friends, it's Catherine, and if you are using this episode to get in an out and back walk and you only have 15 minutes, you will want to turn around as we are 7.5 minutes into the episode. All right, back to our conversation.
Yeah, that's something I want to try and build more into the app. And so I'm always nervous about talking about stuff that is unfinished. This is kind of a general software developer's kind of kiss of death. So I'm not going to talk about dates. Something I would like to implement at some point as soon as I can is like an element of coaching into the app as well. Mm-hmm. I've read a bunch of books about these different kind of attitudes towards like how important emotion is in like, so asking not emotional questions, but like, how do you feel? Or like, did you do your best to stick to your plan today and stuff like that? And that's something I really want to build in the future. And yeah, I totally agree that it's even basic stuff like that is very powerful and makes a big difference. And so it's, as I'm sure it's just finding the time to like balance between doing all the different things that you want to do. And like, if someone makes a machine that I could clone 100 of me, then I would definitely be in the line to buy one of those to get all the stuff I want to do done. But,
I can definitely relate. I always have, all these things I want to provide my listeners and clients as well. Like, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. I have to stay focused. But you're definitely, what I found in my career too, like mindset is really important. So, sometimes luckily I haven't had this happen recently, but I used to have people a lot of the time who would come to me and they have a reunion and they want to lose like 50 pounds in a week or something equally outrageous that I couldn't really help them, actually achieve. But, having people have a bigger connection to what their goal is. So more, a bigger reason for wanting to lose weight that's not just for one event, and, tapping into that's really important. And then you're right too, just the questions that we can ask, I'm sure, I know I have some listeners who are also in the fitness industry as well, but that's something to look into. Is motivational interviewing is kind of what I've been hearing it, be called, is just asking those questions that are, having your clients actually arrive at the reason, for them being part of that journey, and then also things that they've done in the past that have helped them be successful. So that's a really interesting like field to just like look into, and things that people look at.
There's a really great book which I'll send you it so you can put it in the show notes. But the book is called something like Triggers. It's got triggers in the title, and it's one of these kind of self-help type books, but it's really smart. And like the guy I think is the best book of anything like that I've read. And one of his things, he calls it active questions. And it's like I was saying, so you ask yourself, like, it's not about, did I stick to my plan today? It's, did I do my best to stick to my plan today? Because sometimes if you just sit at home and don't get dressed all day, you can eat really healthy, but you haven't really not achieved anything, but you know what I mean? You haven't overcome any obstacles.
Right.
Whereas sometimes you can eat 2 great meals and then you go out and you just slip and have dessert, and then you haven't stuck to your plan. But actually you've done really well, and you've done better than the day when you just sat in your pants all day.
Sure.
And he's got this thing about asking questions and reflecting, like, did I try my best? And that's more important than than actually your results, especially for long term. So I share that book. It's a really great book. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
I feel like I might have read this book. I feel like it might be by like Marshall Goldsmith. Is that like I'm sure there's different editions, but it had like maybe like a leopard or something on it. I'm trying to
that's it. I don't think it's Marshall Gold. It might be. That name rings a bell. It does have the leopard on the cover.
Because I read it a few years ago, so maybe we'll have to check it out. But I do remember enjoying it, but I have to read it again.
Yeah, I think so. I keep meaning to read it again, but it's a good book.
Very cool. Well, definitely exciting stuff going on. I'm trying to think anything else that you want to share about the app or the community, or just insights that you've learned from either your own journey or from people who have gone through using the app or being part of the community.
I don't think I have anything in particular that we haven't touched on. So, certainly I would love for the Fit15 audience to come and check the app out. So they go to theprogressapp.com, and then if you download the app, it's free, but there's an in-app purchase to unlock some of the features. But there's also a way to contact me within the app. And the first 10 people, if you contact me within the app and say you come from the Fit15, then we can send you a promo code for the paid features. So I would like to do that for your listeners.
Definitely grateful for that. And what's cool too is that, the Facebook group, at least right now, it's not a paid feature. So that's like that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. And the Facebook group is great. Come and check that out as well. I should say that the app is iPhone only.
Okay.
So don't be, but we can put a link to the Facebook group we do have non-iPhone people in the Facebook group. So I can send a link to the Facebook group. So I would like to make an Android version at some point, but, see what I said before about, hours in the day. So that will happen as well. But I don't know what the timeline is for that.
Sure. No, I definitely, I haven't developed any apps yet, so I can only imagine, but trying to get my website working where people can book through, that's been several iterations of different strategies, put together. So I can definitely relate to that journey is challenging. I guess here's a question, because you've probably seen this more than I have, because not all my clients, I want them to be tracking their measurements, but I don't see all of them in person because most of my sessions are done online now. So do you find, could you give us any, just to get people motivated to start using the app, any tips about how many inches they might be able to lose in a certain timeline, or just something to get them to maybe use it for a certain number of days to see progress? Or I know it would depend on what they're doing in terms of their fitness and their eating habits, but sure. I don't know if...
So, I wouldn't set a specific inch target. So one good thing about inches and within the app is that you get a really big number. If you measure your thighs and your arms and your waist and your butt and all this stuff, then you've got a really big number, and if in total. And if you lose a little bit on each one, then the big number goes down faster than the individual measurement.
Okay.
And so that's a nice benefit of doing measurements, is you get a big number and you see a total picture in one kind of nice number. So that's a good reason to do it. And like we mentioned, like in terms of, especially for women, like the kind of time of the month, like makes a big difference to weight, like with water retention and stuff like
Sure.
that. So that's another reason to do measurements over just weight. And that can be very motivating. It's more consistent. And also in the app, I have this kind of thing where I try and do, it's called weighted average. So I try to de-emphasize the most recent entry and put more emphasis on the trends, so that you're seeing, more like, so maybe I went up since yesterday, but since last week I'm down, or since last month I'm down, and try and focus on your wins and not just maybe for whatever reason, just as a statistical blip, it's changed since yesterday.
Sure. Oh, that's really cool. So you see, since I haven't actually gone in and used it, that's something I didn't realize yet. So
well, you have to do that over a while. But yeah, that's something that's in there, and that's a nice perk of doing measurements. And then for people getting started with measurements, I would recommend, I'll give you the link to put in the show notes, but there's a tape measure called the Myotape, which is like, it's not like an old-fashioned tape measure that you would use, like a seamstress or a tailor would use, but it's specially designed so that you can use it with one hand and you can wrap it around your body and operate it with one hand, and you just kind of put it around. It's a bit like an old vacuum cleaner where you press a button and it kind of tightens up.
Sure.
And it just makes doing that measurements a little bit easier. So that's a good tool to use. Yeah, those are things. And then I would I don't know what you recommend in terms of like a period of time, but I think 6 weeks is something that you see a lot as like something that you can do is short enough that you can stick with it, but long enough that you should see like a meaningful result if you stick with it for something for 6 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say like minimum of 4, but 6 weeks seems to be like a magic number for, I think, just, for physiology as well, those types of reasons as well. So that is a good thing to give people. I know I do a program, like a drop 2 sizes challenge. And so we say like in 8 weeks, you could drop 2 sizes if you're, eating healthy, which I would say would be like, you don't have to go out and buy like a bunch of supplements or crazy things, like meaning trying to have more whole fruits and vegetables is a big thing. And then also just making sure you're moving consistently and trying to get some strength training in there. But so that's exciting for people to be able to see that much of a transformation in 2 months time. So
yeah, definitely.
Definitely there, things can be, you can see some good stuff happen without having to do anything extreme or crazy. So
yeah, I think so. And I think the more, I don't know what the good word is, but basically the worse position you're in, the easier it is to make a change that's going to make a difference, right? So the more kind of fizzy, sodas type drinks that you're drinking, the less you have to cut out to really notice a difference. So
sure. Yeah, just small changes can make a big difference, right?
And over time, especially, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you spending the time with us, Lewis, to just share more about the app. And I'm definitely excited to dive in more and like really encourage people to download it just to be part of that community, because, obviously I would love for them to work with me, but accountability groups are so important, and that having that group that's not even a paid group is a great way for people to get started, because that's just what a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, sure.
That's really exciting. And we know we have a few of them are going to get to upgrade for free. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you for that?
So the website, if you go to theprogressapp.com, you can download the app from there. But to get the promo code, if you contact me within the app, so in the app, you'll find it pretty easily, but there's like a contact me button. So if you use that is definitely the best way to get in touch with me, and just mention the Fit15 and we'll hook you up.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Lewis. It was great having you on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.
Hi, friends. It's Catherine, and just wanted to remind you that if you are listening to this episode the day it went live, it's a new month, first day of the new month. So definitely a great time to go download the Progress app, although anytime would be a good time to track where you are today, record that, and then get to enjoy seeing your progress as you work towards your health and fitness goals. So check that out. Don't forget to contact Lewis through the app so you can get that code if you're one of the first few people to do that, so that you'll be able to enjoy some of the pro features for free. Wanted to mention that Lewis is actually the third guest this week who has given us some special code, special offers. So we also have an offer from Courtney Polis, who was on yesterday, and she has her Run Like a Mother planner. So tracking your progress through your stats is really important, but also putting down when you're going to get your workouts in is a really big indicator of your success in working on a fitness goal. I can tell you that from my experience of working with clients for over a decade. So if you don't have a good planner yet, I recommend going and checking out her planner, which I'll share in the show notes, and using the code FITARMADILLO, all caps, for 15% off, as long as you purchase it now through the end of this month of November 2018. Another thing happening in November is that Dr. Jason Karp has a live workshop for his Revolution Running certification program. I'm going to be attending that on November 17th, 2018, here in the US in San Diego. I would love to see you there. I'm really excited to be able to offer more science-based programming for my running clients. And it's also a great event to attend, even if you're not in the fitness industry or not working with running clients just yet. If you are a runner, you'll be able to learn a lot and attend for a little bit less than those of us who are in the industry. But either way, Dr. Karp has offered a coupon code as well. It's also FITARMADILLO, all caps, one word, for 15% off. So definitely take advantage of that. I want to thank you for listening and being a part of the show. If you have not already, please go give us a rating and review on iTunes and or Stitcher. And I also want to thank my awesome guests who have been so generous in allowing you to be able to enjoy their products at a discount. So thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Courtney. And thank you, Dr. Karp. Hope you're having a wonderful day. If you subscribe to the podcast, I will chat with you tomorrow. Bye.